Welcome back to another episode of Pick Truth. I'm your host, Dr. Vicky Harris, and I'm here with my co host,
Lamont Hearn Jr.
and we're here to bring the heat. Thank you for listening to us yet for another week, whether it's on Facebook or on any of the numerous distributions, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Stitcher's not there anymore. Did you know that?
Really? No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
at least if I understood that correctly. But anyway, thank you for listening and joining in for another week. Lamont, how have you been?
I've been good. So this is going to be random for everyone else, but you're going to understand this. The item that I record on is a laptop, and I kept it. You know what that means. I actually kept it past the return date.
Did you have a celebration of sorts of the receipt just sitting there like, oh, 24 more hours. I can't take it back.
No, the worst part is, the worst part is I actually remembered the date for return, but I was out with my family and we were just having, a good time. We were just celebrating and just enjoying each other. And it was a Sunday. So it just so happened that the store closed early on Sundays, I think like 6, 7 o'clock. And I looked up and it was like 6:40. I had a chance and I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. But I was like, I'm gonna make sure I tell Vicky because for those who don't know, I return stuff if I don't find it useful or I will find a cheaper version somehow, some way.
Well, you should welcome the computer to the family. It made the cut. A computer, you may not be able to hear me and you're inanimate, and unless AI comes to life soon, hey, welcome to the Hearn family because you could have went back. Listen, the fact that he knows I got 20 minutes to take you back, like it just, I'm sitting here enjoying good times with my friend, holding hands, we're jumping around in circles, and all of a sudden it pops in my head, whoa, I got 27 minutes if I want to get take return this useful device that I've been recording on, that my microphone and everything's hooked up to my perfectly renovated office. But hey, I'm legitimately proud of you because
Thank you.
I know it's hard for you to buy nice things for yourself. If you were buying it for
Absolutely.
someone else, you wouldn't even worry about it. But for you,
No,
like,
not at
do
all.
I deserve to be able to have a device that's not my phone for the first time ever? No, I'm just a kid. I kid. But congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Have you been?
Tired. Your girl's tired. I traveled for 5 days straight. So I was away from the house for 5 days. And the difficulty in that really is like I miss my bed, I miss my family. Like I traveled in my 20s. That's when you're supposed to travel all the time. Me just traveling every other week is like, I mean, every other month makes my soul hurt. Like, I had to actually pack a luggage, had to like check a bag and stuff. That was not nice. But more importantly, so 2 weeks in a row, I had busy schedules. But one of these weeks, I was able to go to a concert in a city about an hour from us, and to see the Black Violin Experience.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it was really nice. But when my ride came to get me, oh no, no! So we get walk into the car with my ride, and they turn and say, "Oh, by the way, run me that $500." And if you can remember several episodes back, I sent a message and said, if you listen to this
Oh,
episode, I
that's
will run you
hilarious.
$500 for that accident that I had in your car almost 20 years ago, right? So, first of
Yeah.
all, y'all remember that episode? That was months ago. So somebody's way behind. But but so they were laughing and joking. They're like, girl, I forgot all about that. You ain't got to run that. I thought that would be funny. A girl is true to her word. I said, Zelle or Cash App. They were like, no, no, you ain't got to do that. In the car on the way to the concert, boop, boop, boop. That's that $500. I said, I'm true to my word, damn it. You said run that. I ran that. I love
Mm.
you. Thank you for listening to the show. Send it to all your friends.
Straight like that.
Love you, girl. And it might be a few years before you hear this particular message, but it's okay. You ran that. You earned your $500 for listening to that episode. So I appreciate that she waited to be in person as well. That's my girl.
That's dope. That's dope.
It was fun. All right, folks, I'm going to jump into my first confession of the show. This one is titled My Boyfriend Only Showers Once a Week. My boyfriend only showers once a week. After a while, he starts to smell and his hair gets greasy. He also wears the same clothes for days and rarely shaves. I told him that it was nasty. He doesn't care. He says that once a week is way enough and that showering too much isn't good for him. Honestly, I lost a lot of attraction to him physically and sexually. I asked him if he was depressed, but he told me that it wasn't that wasn't the case. I just wished he'd made a lot more effort. I feel like his mother and I'm getting tired of it. He wasn't like this in the beginning. I just don't understand. There's some additional comments from this person, and so I'm just going to give the gist of it. So at some point, somebody had a UTI and went to the doctor. The doctor asked her, because their dirty boyfriend asked her, "Hey, what's your hygiene like?" Which you're asking a woman what their hygiene like. I'm gonna tell you what, all of us are gonna say, "It's impeccable. I keep the best hygiene. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care what you smell." But anyway, so come to find out, her boyfriend had used her glitter lotion as a masturbatory aid and did not get the glitter off his member in a way that was meaningful. And the glitter lotion inside of this woman's body contributed to a UTI. And so she started calling her ex glitter dick. But the
Mm.
confession, let alone, is I don't shower once a week. How do you rate that, Lamont?
So the confession of the girlfriend saying that he doesn't shower. I mean, I'm more concerned about her pH balance, due to this brother probably throwing off her pH balance. I mean, I feel like I know we got to give it a rating, but I feel like there's steps before that we got to get to. I mean, fellas, listen. A woman's pH balance is very sensitive. Fellas, you also have a pH balance. Let's be clear, but nonetheless, her pH balance can be thrown off by a lot of things you do, even when you clean yourself. So going and doing things to her and not remotely taking care of yourself is a wild choice. It's beyond wild. It's not very loving. Let me say it that way. As far as this situation of it being a relationship, I mean, I've heard the detail. I've heard the story too, where people say you shouldn't wash too much because it strips you of your natural oils and all that stuff, and that's fine and good. But bro, you're putting on the same clothes and all that stuff. You're not even trying to be clean at all. I know the color of your shirt has got to be a different hue at this point. Like you just don't care. But I mean, if she's gonna stay, that's the part that kind of gets me. Like if she's gonna stay, it could be a poblano. As far as her confession, not him not cleaning himself. It could definitely irritate others because you're making this choice. But to me, it's a spicy poblano. And him, it's I don't even know if there's any such thing as a funky ass pepper. I'm trying to think of one. I don't. I've
Mm-hmm.
never. I'm judging you. I'm not gonna lie. I'm judging you. The fact that I'm glad to hear that it's not a depression type issue per what he stated. I'm glad that that's not the case, but nothing in him seems like is registering to him that he should probably adjust that even a little bit, maybe twice a day, and just stop wearing the same clothes. Even that's going to make a huge difference. I feel like compacting the same dirt in days. Could you imagine compacting the stuff you wore Sunday by Thursday or Friday, especially how weather is here? Like,
I'm trying to
I
think.
don't know.
There may have been times in the early existence of my human that I may have gone 3 or 4 days without showering and just existing in a bubble of hit the hot spots, keep it moving. Like, especially like I remember being a salt a half and taking care of an infant. So like, so here's the thing: I give grace, grace where grace, because
Okay.
that could be you suffering from depression. Just getting out of the bed may be all you can do. So I
Sure.
give grace, but also I'm looking at like you still there, homie. But like you still there. You still like up in there in the throes of it, if you will. And I know there's a lot of people here that y'all know y'all mess with somebody with a dirty house, dirty kitchen, dirty clothes. Like you don't had that on for 3 days. Aren't those the same boxers? Like some people just do not care about their hygiene. If I could get away with it, I'd only shower once a week, but then I think my husband would get sad. My kids would be upset with the flies. So I gotta I gotta take care of it. So for the woman telling the confession that she's confessing to her, I'm gonna give you a side eye. You complaining. Either you like it or you
Mm.
leave it. So shut up. If you're not gonna do anything about it, stop talking about it.
Mm.
Ain't no point. For the guy that doesn't want to stay clean, like, oh man, y'all live in a trailer too. Y'all got possums.
Mm.
Do y'all feed possums? I think y'all feed possums. Y'all the ones that's feeding possums in another episode, a few episodes back, weren't y'all?
Mm.
Because that
Mm.
sounds like
Good
possum
callback.
feeding behavior. Like that's what I'm just saying.
Hold on. Possum feeding behavior, PFB.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. That's when you that's when you out there feeding cats that they can turn into possums and you okay with it because that's filthy. So like
Mm.
maybe that's a filthy thing. I'm gonna say this. I ain't gonna judge you. Let your circumstances may be something off, but I am judging the girl a little bit more. Like, yo, you can leave. You don't
Mm.
come out here to the public and telling everybody that your man stink. Keep it to yourself if you're not gonna do anything about it. Unless you're gonna say, "Hey, girls, I need you to help me leave because he got a rotten A. He don't wipe." You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. This is sidebar. Sorry, guys. It happens. Do you recall the Facebook or internet question trend, whatever, about some men don't use soap on their derriere? They don't physically wash their tail in the shower.
No, that didn't go on my timeline. I didn't see that one.
A young lady shared how she was showering with her significant other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to bend over to whatever reason, and there was mud in the tunnel,
Mm.
and he doesn't. But some whatever came out, he doesn't wash that. He doesn't use. First of all,
He must not be using toilet paper. Nothing.
well, there was also the person who doesn't use that, who lets it drip. I will find these clips and we'll talk about it on Patreon. I will send both of
Okay.
them, but that's what it just reminded
Okay.
me of. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. It just happens. My brain works that way.
Before you leave that point, let what drip? I'm confused.
And so they sit open on the toilet and let their
Uh,
fecal matter drip. They don't use toilet paper. They actually called it a homophobic slur.
re- oh, okay. Well, all right. I can't support that message. I'm sorry.
Sorry for laughing that loud into the mic.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
yeah, they called it a homophobic slur, and the same person who took a shower but doesn't wash their derriere also was afraid of homophobia. And I'm gonna say this: I'd rather you just be that and wash your A. Like there's nothing. At least that's normal. Being homosexual at least is normal,
Yeah, like,
but not
hey,
washing your tail. That's an abnormal. You can't be walking around itchy.
rubbing up against stuff like a Kodiak bear or something. That's
So I don't know. That was probably sorry,
mm.
guys. Sorry. We're gonna keep on going. What confession you got for us this episode?
My confession for this week is titled "I feel like a hypocrite, but I don't know if I should be upset." About 2 weeks ago, I had an edible for the first time. Last week, I tried wine for the first time. Now I have the option to try shrooms. Right. I'm a 20-year-old male in college, And everyone who knows me knows that I don't drink or do drugs. I tell them that it's just not for me, and for the most part, it's been true. I've never needed them to have a good time, and I have nothing against people who choose to do them. I met some friends last year at work, and we've gotten along great. At first, I wasn't too close to them as we all come from very different backgrounds, and I didn't think we would have a lot in common. I'm going to use fake names for them. Jane, 19-year-old female, is a dorky Star Trek loving, strong woman who always looks very serious but is really just all smiles and laughs when you get to know her. Sarah, 22-year-old female, is more outgoing, loves her video games, and has a unique charm that's hard to come across. I, on the other hand, am more reserved, opting to observe others having fun while I stay back. We've gotten closer, and I feel safe around them. It's like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders, and I'm free to be myself. It's honestly very liberating. And I don't feel like I have to keep up some sort of persona around them. We were having a sleepover at Jane's house, and all we were going to do was play some board games and watch some TV shows. Sarah had brought some edibles and wanted us to have some with her. They both know I don't do drugs, and they assured me that I didn't have to take them if I didn't want to. One of the reasons that I've always stayed away from drugs and alcohol is because I was afraid of how I would react. I grew up in a home where both my parents were drunks, and I've witnessed a lot of shouting, crying, and violence because of it. It sort of traumatized me, and I don't feel comfortable being in a state of mind where I'm fully not in control of myself. I'm afraid to hurt those I care about. I did take the edible, only 5 milligrams, and the only reason I took it was because I felt safe around them, or at least that is what I'm telling myself. I didn't know what to expect. I remember the soreness of my body leaving me, and for the next 2 hours, I couldn't stop laughing or sit still. I was surprised because I expected worse, but I felt great. We had a few more sleepovers after that, and I had some more edibles. I also had a glass of wine since Sarah had gotten a bottle of spiced wine that she wanted to try. She loves anything pumpkin spice and fall related. I could taste the alcohol, but it didn't taste bad, and honestly, the edible had more effect on me than the wine. Sarah's birthday is coming up in a month, and she's gotten some shrooms and asked if we want to try them. I don't want to think Sarah is a bad influence since I've only ever done these things in their company, and I don't feel comfortable doing them with anyone else. Jane is open to the experience, but I feel like a hypocrite for having gone so long saying I don't drink or do drugs. I haven't told anyone else I've done these things. People still think I don't drink or do drugs. I don't know how far I'll go, and I'm still afraid of hurting those I care about. Just wanted to get this off my chest.
How old was she again? I can't remember.
It's a 20-year-old male.
Okay. Sorry. He. Huh? So first of all, I'm glad you found your people. It's nice to find your people, like where you can be just who you are, uh, authentically, and not have to put on a charade. So like, I kudos for you finding your people. I First of all, it did escalate quickly. From and you started off with like gummies, edibles, THC. Like usually you start off with alcohol, then THC. Then like I still haven't made it to shrooms. Again, I would try shrooms because I love a mushroom. Like hey, they're so yummy. But my husband has forbade it, so I've never tried mushrooms. But if y'all could find a safe way for me to do it, let me know. Don't tell my husband. This one is a mild truth because you're 20 years old. You barely even experienced life. And the fact that maybe you have been straight edge for the majority of your life and you decide to do something different, cool. I wish I could take a 5 milligram gummy and be high off my ass for 2 hours. Man, I wonder what that's like. So, go be great. It's a mild truth. You can, and so what you need to start your narrative is stop. First of all, that's why you shouldn't brag about shit anyway. Like, I don't do anything. Because, and usually if you're out there doing that now, just say you haven't tried anything like that yet, which leaves the door open that if you change your mind, you can without feeling like now you're a hypocrite or a liar. So, one, stop telling people you don't do it anymore. Secondly, if it does come up, and you can always say, hey, I experimented with Becky. That's it. Like, hey, that way, just don't make a big deal out of it because it's not everyone's business. But stop there. If she's pulling out heroin or X, like, or some meth, like, they'll be like, oh, now for Sweetie's Day, for Valentine's Day, we're going to try heroin. Like that. because you are like you're going up very fast. Like so, I would say it's a mild truth. I would say just figure out your rhetoric and go be happy. It's somebody's like t- somebody's listening. Like first of all, I done said a lot of things you don't agree with on this episode, but people are going to do it. Don't judge yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Try not to get addicted. Try to stay at a point where 5 milligrams gets you off your ass. That's that's an inexpensive habit. Do great with yourself. Lamont, what do you think?
Um, I agree. I think it's a mild truth. I don't think it's anything that's too crazy. Like you said, well, the trying of the wine and the edibles, not even the shrooms. I'm not even judging that. It does seem like it's escalating, like you said, pretty rapidly. I don't know if you've ever seen a. There's a movie called Walk Hard, the story of Dewey Cox. It's like a satire movie from the movie that was made about the musician Johnny Cash, and it stars John C. Riley of Step Brother fame, the movie he did with Will Ferrell. And in the movie, his character meets Buddy Holly, all these different musicians. And there's a character that's in his band. And every time he's going to perform on the stage in a different city, one of his band members is inside of a bathroom stall and he's trying different things. First, it's weed, and then it's heroin. And like it keeps escalating. And that's the first thing that came to my mind. He's like, "You
Mm.
don't want to get in on this, Dewey. It's bad for you." He's like, "I want to try it." And from there, every time he tries something, he goes further off. To one point, like I think he's running around on his mansion like area with an alpaca, trying to like he's half naked trying to chase it around. And I was like, yeah, it seems like that would be the escalation at that point. But in reality, if you're trying things and you're trying to with people who you feel safe around, who will not make it uncomfortable for you and will try to assist you in keeping your composure to the best of your abilities, of course, in those type of instances, I think you're fine. Just be mindful of what you're doing. Don't feel pressured. They don't seem like they'll pressure you, so don't convince yourself that if you don't, that they're not going to be friends with you or disassociate from you. So just try to keep that perspective and you know memories.
I know that was a pretty long one. I do have one more I can read if you want to I can wrap the show up with that if you like.
Sure.
All right. So I found this one, guys, and yikes. All right, hold your composure. This one's called "I accidentally slept with my cousin." So one night, my cousin joined my girlfriend and I out on the night of the town. We all had drinks and had a really good time. At the end of the night, my cousin decided to come home with us. I thought to myself, who's safer than family, right? We got home. My girlfriend decided to take a shower, leaving me alone in the living room. My cousin went to the spare room and changed into one of my girlfriend's oversized t shirts before climbing into the bed. As I laid down on the couch, the alcohol started to hit me even harder. The room seemed to sway, and my senses were heightened. I wasn't having a bad time, but the intensity of the alcohol's effects made me feel a huge surge of desire. I stumbled into our bedroom, feeling the weight of the alcohol pushing me down. The room seemed to spin as I removed my clothes and crawled into bed, trying to focus on the familiar shape of my girlfriend laying next to me. In my drunken state, I failed to realize that I had actually walked into the spare room with my cousin, where my cousin was sleeping. My girlfriend and I had a playful, intimate routine that we'd often engage in before falling asleep. Believing that I was in bed with my girlfriend, I started to caress the figure beside me, gently kissing her neck. She stared in her sleep but didn't wake, and I took that as an encouragement to continue. Before I knew it, things had escalated, and I found myself making love to my sleeping cousin, who I thought was my girlfriend. I woke up to find my cousin staring at me, her eyes filled with confusion and hurt. In my drunken state, I had entered the wrong room and the wrong girl. Panicked, I rushed to my room and found my girlfriend, who had been waiting for me the whole night. Her eyes narrowed as she demanded an explanation. I couldn't hold back the tears as I confessed everything to her, choking on the words as I told her but about the awful mistake I had made. How could you? She whispered, her voice trembling. I trusted you and you betrayed me with your cousin of all people. I'm so sorry, I stammered, the guilt weighing heavily on me. I was drunk and I didn't realize I thought it was you. That doesn't make it any better, she snapped, her eyes filling with tears. I don't know if I could ever forgive you for this. My cousin, who had been listening to our conversation at the doorway, stepped into the room. Her face was a mix of sadness and anger. I wish I could say it didn't happen, but it did. She said, her voice barely audible. I'm sorry too. With that, my cousin packed her things and left the apartment, the door closing behind her with a heavy thud. It's a very good writer. My girlfriend looked at me one last time, her eyes filled with pain and disappointment. I can't stay here, she said, grabbing her keys and walking out the door, leaving me alone to face the consequences of my action. Now, all I can hope for is that this mess doesn't get out to the rest of my family because I'm probably implode. The relationship between my cousin and me has been irreparably damaged, and my girlfriend may never forgive me. Even though it was a horrible mistake, the reality of our actions hit us hard. Our actions. Will I ever be able to make things right, or is it too far gone for any of us to heal?
Okay. I was hoping this was going to be a situation where it was just going to be I met this girl at a bar, I didn't know who she was, and then I had like a reunion and she was there. At least then I had something I could kind of potentially make out of it, but I'm not going to lie, this is crazy. Man, this is where you get into those gray areas. I'm not going to lie, this is messy. I mean, we were just talking about somebody trying different things and being safe, and to then turn around on a story where people were drinking and assuming that they were safe and it backfired. That's rough because I don't even know how to judge this on our scale. It feels like there's no, it just feels like this is a case of just losers all around. And I don't mean that in a negative towards them as much as the situation. Like for the gentleman, how do we even navigate that portion of it? Like the fact that, okay, warranted, you were in your house for what you assumed, you thought you were in your room with your lady, and yeah, I need your help. I'm not gonna
Uh,
lie, I'm
so
I'm kind of
so
flabbergasted.
so this one, so okay, from a rating wise, it's a difficult, it is difficult because part of me is like, this is assault. That was
Yeah,
grape, if you ask me
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like when he said something along the lines of when she was sleeping she consented. You can't consent if you sleep.
at all.
And like, what are you and your girlfriend like? The way that, okay, first of all, it was written well, but it was written in such a way that he didn't really talk about his behaviors. Oh
Right,
well, when we have a routine when we're intimate. What does that mean?
right.
Like, what kind of routine do you have that when she sleep you feel like that's consent? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
then so clearly the cousin wasn't happy about this and would have most likely woken up if they had been in capacity. That was grape, if you ask
yeah,
me. So here's where we stand. If I am the confessor and I tell somebody this, I'm like, don't tell nobody else that, dude. That is a beyond that, like, you're going to jail.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so like in your own defense, you should take it to your deathbed because that was an assault. I'm absolutely judging you. It would be interesting to kind of hear from the cousin's perspective. And he's like, I hope they don't say anything. Like, I feel like you came home, graped your cousin. That's what I feel like happened. You got drunk, graped your cousin, and try to blame it on the alcohol.
yeah. I mean, he even mentioned what she switched into. Like that was weird. That if you were so drunk that you were aware that she changed into your girlfriend's shirt, something there doesn't add up. That's why I was having such a hard time. I was like, obviously this is almost off our scale. Like, bro, you're a criminal. Like, I don't even know how else to say, all right, it was a criminal act. You know, I don't even know how to mince words beyond that. Like, there's no PSA for people, especially men. Um, if you are drinking, bro, breathe, chill out, go outside, get some air, do something. Don't. don't engage in sexual activity with that being the case. There's just too much there that can happen, and that's not putting any blame on the woman or yourself in that context as much saying just don't do it. It's just not worth it. When someone cannot consent in that manner, it's not going to turn out well. It's just not worth it. It's just not it.
Yeah, but it's other context clues like the girlfriend had been waiting all
Right.
night. Like we in an apartment. I'm gonna go find you.
Like, yeah, it's
Like
not that big of a space.
right, we like I left you at the club and now I got to go to backtrack. I got to take a Uber to go get you. No, you in the living room. I got out of the shower. Where you at? We only got 2 rooms in this bitch. Like I don't know, but when he said that she stared in her sleep, or I took that as consent. What kind of consent is that? And I think you're right. He tried to paint this picture of, well, she was wearing her clothes, and well, I didn't know which room I was in, and well, nothing. I hope she does see, but the victim, I hope she does tell. I hope she calls the police. I hope she tells your mama. I hope your auntie knows. I hope they like, because no one else should ever put themselves in that predicament if you can't tell the difference. And then, like, you think sleeping, not moving is consent. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, it just all sounds so backwards. Like, I'm in my head, I'm trying to, because like you said, the way they wrote it, it seems very intentional. It seems very intentional. And just like you said, so if it seems like because she woke up, that's when he was like, "Oh, I have to make this. Okay, This was an accident. I'm sorry." It seems like it was more of a spur of the moment thing. I don't even know, man. That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah. But definitely I'd call that one a reaper. That is a
Facts.
interesting confession to put out there in the ether anonymously. So if you ever run across this show, you're trash. I'm say that.
Facts.
I said it. You're trash. If anybody sleep, they sleep. They can't say yes. You can't. That doesn't even make sense. So whatever routine you and your girlfriend have, it just sounds real. What's in the routine? What kind of routine do you have that ends in non-consensual? And then he made love. That's rape. Excuse me, grape. Case this is on the social media platforms. You didn't make love to anyone.
Yeah.
Making love requires consent. If it's not consensual, it is grape. And
He said we.
yeah,
He he
yeah.
said our mistake. Like, bro, we didn't do nothing. You did.
You
There's
assaulted
no.
me.
Yeah, don't make it an inclusionary act like we both made this decision. Like, no. Like, she somehow, everybody was drinking, but she was somehow functional enough to go into the other room, get dressed in a room and place she does not live, and get herself in bed. You somehow lived there, I suppose. I don't know how long you've lived there, but you lived there and somehow totally missed the wrong room. And the way he said that, what did he say? He said he entered the wrong room and the wrong person.
Yeah,
Like, just
trying to
as I
make it
keep
clever.
backtracking on it, it's trying to be highbrow when you're just disgusting, man. That shit's awful. Like you said.
Yeah, yeah. Guess sorry to leave the show on a sad note. Uh, Let me switch this energy around. Don't be like him. That's called grape. And yes, guys, we know we're saying it wrong, but social media will like being us on YouTube, or the
Mm-hmm.
talks of ticks, or the books of faces, or the
Mm.
grams of Insta. So like we have to say different words in order for us not to get penalized. And so assault, even that's a tricky one. But that's why I'm saying it the way I am, so we don't have to go back and re-edit this. So sorry. Still love you. All right, guys. I know that does it for this episode of Pick Truth. If you like today's show, help us out and subscribe. Send it to one friend and tell them that they out here giving out $500 to people that they know when they say that they do it. They true to their word up in this space. We should get them on an episode. See how
Right.
talk about that experience. They barely remembered it, but anyway, if you've not done so already, join our Facebook group, Pick Truth, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
Oh yeah, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you subscribe.
Catch you next time.
Later.